back to another episode of the Binge Warmers. It's me, Steven. Today we'll be discussing the upcoming live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, debuting on Netflix on February the 22nd. I'm going to talk about my expectations I have for the show, my doubts, and what I'm excited for. Netflix has been very hit or miss when it comes to their live-action adaptation so far. While the One Piece adaptation was a massive success, we can't ignore the fact that the Death Note adaptation was abysmal and painful to watch, except for William Dafoe. I love that guy. But before we dive in, let me give a refresher about the original show to anyone who may not remember it or is new to the series. It follows the life of Aang, who is the latest Avatar, a being who has control over all four elements, after he is rescued from suspended animation by Water Tribe siblings Katara and Sokka. With their help, Aang learns how to master all four elements and overthrow the evil Fire Lord Ozai and restore peace to the land. The show first aired on Nickelodeon on February 21st, 2005 and finished on July 19th, 2008. It was universally liked by audiences and still maintains a dedicated fan base to this day. So much so that Netflix decided to make a live-action adaptation. So now that the recap is out of the way, let's jump into the video. Oh, one last thing. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you stay up to date on all of our videos. All right, let's go ahead and get my doubts out of the way first, of which there are many. Let's start with the streaming service that is Netflix. Netflix has been known to make some absolute bangers on their site. House of Cards is what first set them up for success in the early days of their streaming. We won't talk about that last season. They have also made some amazing shows such as Stranger Things and Wednesday. Some of the Marvel shows saw great success on their site as well. Looking at you, Daredevil and Punisher. But not everything over there is sunshines and roses. One issue I have with them, for example, is their dedication to source material. Or should I say, their lack of dedication to the source material. We know that Henry Cavill left the Witcher series because the writers were steadily deviating more and more from the source material. And the only reason they stayed on course for as long as they did was that Henry Cavill himself was fighting them step by step the entire way. In the beginning of the production of the live-action Avatar show, Netflix brought on the original showrunners and creators to help with the production. They would go on to leave the project over, you guessed it, creative differences with Netflix. This is scary to me because that can only mean that the upcoming show is going to be different from the original. Now I can already hear it. But Steven, they have to change some things to keep the story fresh. Not everything has to be a one-to-one comparison. What's the point in a remake if that's the case? And to that I say, yes, you are absolutely right. The scary part isn't that they are making changes. The scary part is how much will they be changing. Change can be good for a series to keep it fresh and exciting, but too much change and you might as well have made a different show instead of writing on the name of a successful series. I'm looking directly at you, Halo. Talk about a completely different story. The amount of people that told me, if you take away the fact that this is a Halo show and just enjoy it as a regular show, then it's really good. Why would I do that? The show is called Halo, not space drama featuring someone who resembles Master Chief. If the new Avatar show makes changes as drastic as that show, then they should have never called it a remake and should have just made a completely different show. Now, another not so serious apprehension I have with the series is their release schedule. Currently, we have no info on how the show will be released. I'm hoping it's a binge release. So they did that with One Piece, so I'm assuming they're going to stick to it this time. I say this because Netflix is my last bastion of binge streaming. Most other sites have started to release content once a week to maintain audience retention on their site. Call me old-fashioned, but I miss the era of having all the shows at my fingertips and watching at my own pace. I understand I may actually be an outlier in this regard, but hey, these are my doubts, so I can say it. Another thing I'm scared of isn't necessarily a Netflix issue, but an adaptation issue. I could fill a book with how many shows, books, and movies got live-action adaptations that just absolutely sucked. We have already mentioned a few. For this show in particular, a movie was attempted once and it absolutely flopped and was met with almost unanimous negativity. The movie version was released in 2010 and was directed by none other than M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong himself. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think I've liked a single one of his movies besides Split, honestly. It got a whopping 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. Disney has also failed with a lot of their live-action adaptations, as have a lot of studios that try to adapt their animes into live-action adaptations. Again, thank you One Piece for being the exception to this rule. Another issue I have is more recent. As of literally typing this video right now, we have gotten news that they have decided to cut Sokka's misogyny from the new show, which I think is a very bad choice. Yes, Sokka was misogynistic, but I think they handled it very well in the show, and it's part of what defines Sokka as a character, and it shows as he grows throughout the series. Sokka's raised in the Southern Water Tribe, where the warriors are the males and the gatherers and whatnot are the females.
Simple. Girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that. It's just the natural order of things.
And time and time again, we see Sokka's faith in this belief be shattered when he meets the Kyoshi warriors. They just absolutely body him. A bunch of female warriors and they kick his butt. This is character growth that is very obvious from an outside looking in, but also very nuanced. He would be a lot less of a fleshed out character, taking away his misogynistic characteristics, in my opinion. Netflix has a lot of pressure on them to not fall into the same mistakes that others have fallen into. Again, looking directly at you, Halo series, I don't care how good your second season is, that first one was abysmal, and I didn't even watch it, and I know I'm gonna hate it. So please, Netflix, don't be like the Halo series. Now that the doom and gloom is over, let's talk about what I'm excited for. First and foremost, I'm excited for the show as a whole. I'm a big fan of the show. I've rewatched it several times over my life and can't wait to see it in a new way. Netflix also is a huge company, and as such, they have a big wallet. Each episode has been reported to cost $15 million to make. Using that as the sole evidence, I'm excited to see the special effects of element bending in this, as well as animals and settings. Avatar had a wide array of animal amalgamations that were super fun and unique, starting off with everyone's favorite, Appa, Aang's flying bison. Then we have Momo, the flying bat lemur companion they pick up at the airbending temples. Don't forget about the duck turtles and otter penguins either. I'm excited to see if Aang gets to ride on the penguins in the first episode like in the show. It's a nice homage to the OG show and a good way to set up Aang's character as carefree and happy in the first season. Even though the creators have recently come out and said that the show will be more serious than the OG show. For some reason they want it to be more like Game of Thrones. What a great show that turned out to be, am I right? But enough about the animals. Let's talk about setting. The first season takes you through some amazing parts of the world. You start out in the Southern Water Tribe. You go to the Air Temples, Aang's original home. You even go all the way up to the Northern Water Tribes. Netflix has a chance here to make some of the best backdrops in television if they pull it off. Seeing the great Earth Kingdom city of Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. The element bending is another aspect I'm excited to see in a live-action setting. From what I saw in the trailers, it's looking to be where they put a good bit of the money, which I'm so thankful for. I remember seeing Aang's trademark air sphere he rides around on in the trailers, and I'm super happy they kept that in the show. Speaking of Aang, let's talk about the casting of the characters. I like that they still look like kids and weren't aged up to appeal to older audiences. They're relatively fresh new actors as well, so they can potentially kickstart their careers with their performances in the series. I'm also especially excited to see Daniel Day Kim as the Fire Lord. His performance in The Good Doctor was amazing, and we all know what scene put him in the meme history books.
I am a surgeon!
The showrunner, Albert Kim, doesn't have a lot of experience, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Netflix must see something in him to give him a project of this scale. Now, we've talked about what I'm scared of, and we've talked about what I'm excited for. It's time to come back to reality ever so slightly and discuss my actual expectations. We all saw the massive success that One Piece had. However, at this point in time, it is more of an outlier than it is the new live-action norm. I just recently finished the Percy Jackson live-action adaptation over on Disney+, and that has me more grounded when it comes to what I expect from this show. It was unfortunately a very mid-experience, and because of this, I'm expecting Avatar: The Last Airbender to be pretty much middle-of-the-road decent. I'm not going into this with very high expectations. At the most, I'm hoping to be entertained and not angry at how much they've massacred the source material. I've seen enough characters in the trailer to assume that they haven't cut anyone we would notice. I mean, they kept Jet in, of all people. And honestly, if any minor plot beats got cut, this would have been one of them, in my opinion. I've already discussed how the studio decided to take out Sokka's misogyny, so I'm expecting some more cuts along those lines. If the studio is smart, they will know that the majority of people who are going to watch this will be fans from the old TV show, and they don't want to alienate that base by going too far away from the material. Something else that is new to expect is that the Fire Lord and Azula will have altered story plots as well. We've seen that they will be casted in Season 1 and both be showing up, which weren't true in the original, which means that they will have storylines written, and hopefully they're very creative. I am scared, though, how much they will be infringing on Zuko and Uncle Iroh's time. In Season 1, they were the main antagonists of the show, and because of that, we saw a lot of them, and we saw a lot of growth between Zuko, Iroh. We saw how much of not really a villain Iroh was, and how much he was trying to steer Zuko away from that. And I'm scared having Ozai and Azula in this as well is going to clutter up and kind of infringe on their screen time, and we won't get to see a lot of that development. I hope I'm wrong, though, on that. I'm also expecting there to be a lot of CGI to pull off the visuals necessary to show bending. Whether the CGI is good is something we will have to wait and see. I'm expecting to see a good bit of effort put into the show, whether it's directed in the right way or not. Netflix is trying to build several different products of Avatar on Netflix, and they all depend on the success of this show. A good show to compare my expectations with is The Rings of Power from Amazon. I went into that with low expectations and came out more impressed than disappointed. I honestly would give the show a 6 out of 10, and looking at trailers and talks of it, I went in expecting to give it a 2. It changed things I didn't agree with, but it stayed true to certain themes that I appreciated. I'm very interested in seeing a Season 2 of that show. This is the mentality I am going to be adopting when going in to watch the new Avatar show as well. Hopefully, I get proven wrong. I really do hope that. And it's a straight banger, again, like the One Piece show. I know I brought it up several times, but honestly, please go watch that show if you have not. Even if you're not an anime fan, it's just a great piece of art. Finally, I'm off my soapbox. I know for the most part this video was more negative than it was positive. That is not because I hate the show or Netflix or want it to fail. I'm just tired, like most people, of seeing their favorite IPs getting mercilessly devoured by greedy corporations that care only about money. The creators will butcher the source material, and when fans are upset, the fans are told they're the problems, not the show, which can be exhausting on the part of the fans. The creators take shows and change them to try to appeal to as big an audience as they can so they can make as most money as they can. I want to go in and watch this show and come out with nothing but excitement at finally seeing another rendition of this series come to life that I can show others and possibly show my kids one day and raise a new generation with it. So, I guess we will have to just wait and see. I will be watching it on the 22nd and can't wait to share my opinion of it with you guys. Stay tuned on the channel because Hopper and I will definitely be covering this series as it unfolds, and we can't wait to do it alongside you, our fans. And until then, keep on binging.
Secret tunnel, through the mountains. Secret tunnel.